to mosey on up?
Yeah.
Give you
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, everybody watching out there. My name's Paul O'Neill. It's Brands Hatch. It's the hottest day ever. It was raining so much yesterday. It's TCR UK. We are in the assembly area, and myself and my cameraman are going to show you around. Let's go and have a look at what's going on. Very, very busy here at Brands Hatch. Lots going on. Very noisy. Lots of people, which we love. The first person I'm going to speak to is Chris Smiley. Chris Smiley, we are live. Christopher Smiley, sorry. Chris, it's going very well, isn't it? The car's beautiful, back with your best mate, Bert. Tell us more about it. And how is Bert?
Yeah, he's good, Bert's really enjoying it. You know, anybody that doesn't know, Bert had a really severe stroke a few years ago, and Oulton Park, the first round of the year, was the first race event he had been at in over 2 years, and you're talking about a guy who has been brought up around racing, so to turn up to Oulton Park and win the first round for Bert was pretty special. But yeah, we've had a good season. I think we've been thereabouts, considering we've done no testing whatsoever. Yeah, we've really enjoyed it. We've got 2 good races today. The weather's looking good. There's a load of people here today, and yeah, we're looking to put on a show.
Started well, didn't it? Round 1 at Oulton, absolute classic. I nearly said crashathon. It wasn't. The one thing that stood out for me was how fast you were in this new Honda, and Yas are coming along and trying to help out as well. people are taking this seriously. Yes, are the Honda people, aren't they?
Yeah. They build the cars for Honda in Japan. So basically, Honda in Japan give them the budget to build and design these cars, like Hyundai do and like Seat do, and all the big manufacturers do. So yeah, to get the guys involved and get them over here, it's it's absolutely fantastic. To bring the level of this championship up, not just for us as drivers, but as for people as spectators as well. To have the manufacturers involved, have them at the race events and helping out the guys that are running the cars. So yeah. Really big thing for the championship. I think it's a big feather in the cap for the UK series, and yeah, we're looking forward to today.
Is it championship for you? Is that the only thing that matters?
Yeah, we want to win it. Obviously, we want to win it. Yesterday we probably could have pushed a little bit harder and possibly took 5 more points, but risk versus reward. I thought 35 points was better than sitting in Paddock Hill Bend the wrong way around. So yeah, I think today, we're starting in the body of the field. We're starting 9th in this race and 8th in the next one. So yeah, the start's going to be important to get it off the line.
Top man, you're a changed fella, by the way, talking about points and things like that. It's happened to you. You usually just go out flat out for the win.
Yeah, well, that plan works some days, but I think there's other days where you need to sort of rein it back in a little bit and take the points.
We're all getting old, mate. Good luck anyway, fella. Nice to speak to Chris. Okay, follow me. Let's have a little word with the champ. So the champ is just getting a little pep talk, I reckon. Listen, my man, Lewis, championship last year. This is a live interview, by the way, just so you know, because I know you like to swear. How's it looking for you? What's been going on? Is it all good?
Yeah, at the moment we're sitting P3, I think, after yesterday. So yeah, we're doing all right. We're just there or thereabouts. Got a bit of a gap between Max and everyone else. He seems to not have the pace this weekend, which we don't know why, but he just seems to have dropped off a bit. So we're gaining a bit on there. We've just got to try and push forward and try and overtake him in this race. And if we can get in front of Smiley as well, it's extra points on my championship. They're the only 2 really that I need to beat to start gaining points. Obviously, if we can beat Isaac as well, that helps as well, because I think we're only just ahead of him. But yeah, no, it's looking good, and as I've said in all the interviews, consistency is key. So yeah, we'll try and stay as consistent as we can, and hopefully it all goes all right.
He looks very calm, doesn't he? And yourself, are you doing the pep talk?
Yeah, always giving him a pep talk before. He knows what he's doing. Don't need to worry about anything.
He has no idea what he's doing. He's one of the chefs that's come with us.
Response to that?
Good cook.
Yeah. Absolutely no response. Listen, I'll let you guys crack on. Get yourselves ready. Good luck out there. I'm sure it's going to be a beauty. I'm going to go and see what Ant Wharton-Eales is up to. It looks like he's just getting ready, so follow me. Ant looks like he's a bit busy, but let's go and catch a word with him. Come through. Sorry, mate, we're live. Thank you very much. Anthony, you're probably two seconds. Mate, in every Formula I've watched you've been an outstanding, one of the best stars out there. You can race anything. This Subaru looks like the hardest proposition you've ever had, but I'll tell you what, mate, you've done a good job to get her where she is.
She is, to be fair, mate. Every time we feel like we get somewhere with it, something else will crop up. But there's just so, you know what these cars are like. It's a touring car, isn't it? There's so many moving, working parts on it that it just takes a long time for us to get through it. But we're getting there. The Jamsport boys have done a real good job again. I think 4 o'clock this morning they finished. We had gearbox troubles yesterday. I don't know how it made the end of the race, but it did. But yeah, we have been struggling. Obviously, we've got the reverse grid for this first one this morning, starting on the front row. If we can get to the front, realistically, we don't have outright pace. We know that. But she's wide and the doors flick out when people come alongside, so we'll try our best.
I hope Max Hart hasn't heard that, because he's going to be behind you, but he's going to be fast, isn't he?
He will. I've said to Max, I said, look, you will be quicker than me, mate, if you get up to the back of me. You know, as a team, we're working towards a championship, so we will obviously work together, but touring car racing, it's every man for himself.
Top man, I'll let you crack on. I know you were trying to get in the car. Perfect. Sorry, fella. How are you? You've had some busy nights, 4 in the morning fixing the Subaru.
It's like a labour of love, isn't it?
Is that the missus or is it the car?
I don't know. It's like a mistress. I spend more time with her than I do with Mel. But
that's exactly what Mel said to me before.
You know me, I'm not going to give up, you know, and it's showing some pace. So, you know, if I can do my bit and I can get Andy to do his bit and we can drive round. So we're on the front row and he's going to put on a show, and he always does. Fingers crossed it holds together. We put a box together out of a box of bits. So, yeah, no, we're trying. I am trying.
Good man. Good luck, Jamie. Top team is Jamsport. Spot on. Excellent stuff. Maxie, you're getting ready. Max Hart, championship leader. Mate, you are flying. I know you're trying to get in the car. Just 30 seconds. How's it looking? Is it as easy to get past that Subaru as we think? Can we crack on? Have you just got to get past it and get on with it and win?
I think we all know the answer, trying to pass Ant in that Subaru, so I definitely don't need to tell you. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the race. We have a couple of changes to the car. Unfortunately, we got no testing on Friday, so it's still like a test, unfortunately, for us. But hopefully we've got it right, and I'll see you on the podium.
Top man, listen, you crack on. Thanks very much for speaking to us. Maxie Hart there, ladies and gentlemen. I want to just quickly speak to Brad Hutchison, because he's been super fast, but he's just had a... That was nice, wasn't it? He took you out then, didn't he? Yeah, Brad in his Audi, with Bondit as a corporate sponsor, they've done very well. And he runs with his dad, Martin, who's a top guy. The family are all getting involved in the car. Let's just have a quick word with him. So his dad, Martin, is just trying to get him all ready. 30 seconds and we'll speak to Brad. But a lot of sponsors here, Bondit in particular. Everyone's putting their 2 pence within. It's a difficult series, but it's looking better now, isn't it?
It certainly is, yeah. We had a fairly difficult day yesterday with the changing weather. We put some wet tyres on. Our setup didn't work quite as well as some of the other cars, so we've dropped back quite a bit. But weather's good today. He likes this circuit. We'll see what we can do.
Top man. One quick word from Brad, just one quick word. Brad, I said I'd come and speak to you, mate. Have you got socks on, by the way?
Fireproof socks, but my ankles are still showing.
Doesn't look like it, mate. 5th place at Donington, best so far. Looking for a podium this weekend?
Yeah, I mean, we're starting the next race, P6, so it's a good start. I mean, we've tried something pretty wild for this race, because there's nothing really to lose. But I like starting mid-pack, because you can get proper stuck in, I suppose. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Top man, listen, I'll let you crack on. Everyone says you're quick enough to do this, mate, so very, very good luck. Good man. Nice one. Right, that's the 30 seconds gone. So, Andy, it's over to you.
Very much, Paul, going full Martin Brundle down there in the assembly area ahead of what promises to be a fantastic 6th round of the TCR UK Championship for 2022. It's our 2nd race of the weekend. A couple of the drivers there were referencing things that had happened a little bit earlier on in the weekend. Those of you here trackside, we're talking to you live now as well, I believe. Many of you, I'm sure, been here for that first race yesterday. We unfortunately didn't have any live pictures for that one, so we'll give a big recap of what happened in a moment or two. It was a brilliant race, and it really sets us up nicely for the 2 more races coming your way this afternoon. This is round number 6 then of the 2022 Championship. We're heading into the meat of the championship now, this middle portion of the season, when we really start to look at championship points. We try and figure out who the championship favourites are this part of the season, and it brings us down to the southeast of the country and the Brands Hatch Indy circuit. Myself, Andy McEwen, here in the commentary box for all things TCR, and Paul O'Neill, who we've just been hearing from down in the assembly area, is going to hot-foot it up here, probably get a lift in a golf buggy or something, to join me to talk you through all of the action. Brands Hatch is a real fan favourite track. It's one that the drivers enjoy as well. Always does produce some really, really good racing. It's a short track. It's just 1.2 miles in length, 6 turns, but many of them are among the most established and famous corners in British motor racing. The first turn, that plunge down through the completely blind right-hander at Paddock Hill Bend. They climb steeply uphill into the right-hander at Druids, and then they come back down towards us into the left-hander at Graham Hill Bend. That's one of the areas, it's the main area really, where track limits are being monitored, both on the inside as drivers are cutting the corner and on the exit as they run wide over that painted curb. Then they're down the back straight through the final sector, where again you tend to see a lot of overtaking. Weather yesterday was definitely a talking point. A shower just as the race started really threw the cat among the pigeons, but today we've got clearish sky, a little bit overcast, but we have no rain forecast. The temperatures are set to be in the mid to high teens all day long. It's pretty much a perfect day for racing for the drivers in TCR UK. So cars making their way out from the outer paddock onto the grid, where they will line up with Bradley Kent on pole position. Now, Bradley had pole position yesterday because he set the fastest time in the qualifying session. Looked really strong initially in the race. We had 2 laps of dry-ish running, and then the rain arrived. A few cars ended up scattering themselves in various points around the track where they shouldn't have been. So the red flag was thrown. When we restarted the race, the track was damp. all of the cars had moved onto wet tyres, and that potentially wasn't really the right decision to make, because within about 5 or 6 minutes of restarting the race, the track was dry again, and some drivers, Bradley was one of them, were really struggling with tyre wear and high tyre pressures, so he faded all the way back to finishing in 10th position. Now, the silver lining for Bradley Kent is that gives him pole position for race 2, because this is the reversed grid race. The top 10 finishers from that first race are reversed, so Bradley, who finished 10th, is on pole, and Lewis Kent, his older brother, the double reigning champion, who won the race yesterday, has to come from midfield. He's starting 10th on the grid alongside Chris Smiley, both of them very much championship contenders. Heard a few drivers just now referring to the championship standings and how Max Hart has stolen this little bit of a march on everybody else, and they're right. He arrives into this race after scoring not all that well for an 8th place finish yesterday on 171 points. That's compared to 151 for his nearest rival Chris Smiley, so a 23-point cushion, but it was almost halved yesterday. It was 44 points coming into the weekend. It's down to 23 now. However, for 2022, there are dropped scores included in TCR UK, so the drivers dropped their 2 worst finishes over the year. It's all a bit complicated, but basically, early days in the championship, I know we've only had 5 races, but if you apply those drop scores now, Max Hart and Chris Smiley are actually dead level on points. So yes, Max Hart has got this advantage in the overall standings, but once those drop scores are applied, it all becomes an awful lot closer. There are the cars then lining up in the grid. The Hyundai number 5 of Bradley Kent on pole, and alongside him, a car that I'm sure is going to be popular with the crowd that we've got here at Brands Hatch, the Subaru Impreza WRX, Subaru WRX STI. It is not an Impreza, Subaru WRX STI, which is new to TCR UK this year in the hands of Antwort Niels, and that is a car that already, I was down there in the assembly area just before I came to the commentary box, it was generating a lot of interest. We're on part of the Tuna Fest package here at Brands Hatch, which is basically a modified car show. So we've got all of these car clubs bringing their very, very nice motors to put on display, and as you'd imagine, there are an awful lot of fans of Subaru and Mitsubishi and those all the other Japanese manufacturers who I'm sure will be very happy to see a Subaru up there on the front row of the grid. Antwort Niels, who led the first ever laps for both himself and the Subaru TCR car at Donington last time out, led the first 4 laps of the race before unfortunately getting involved in a couple of bits of contact which weren't his fault, but it damaged the Subaru, and he will be looking to bounce back and maybe try and get that car's first victory in this race. There goes the Subaru then, leaving the pit lane. They'll head round to the grid where the teams will have a check over of the cars. They'll swap the tyres from front to rear because front-wheel drive cars, of course, they warm their front tyres up quite a bit quicker than the rears, so they'll go out on this outlap, get a bit of heat into those front tyres, and then when they get down onto the grid, they'll swap them back over again. So the fronts are on the rears, and the rears are on the fronts for their green flag lap, and then we go racing for 25 minutes in round number 6 of the championship. Brilliant sight they make coming out of the pit lane. Now we've got 23 cars entered this weekend. I'm hoping we get all 23 out there. I think that the one that I had a bit of doubt over was the Audi of Steve Gales, but I think I can see him at the back of the queue. Yes, he is there, the last car coming down the pit lane. He had quite an impact into the barriers yesterday on the first lap of the race. It was a bit damp, a bit greasy. He maybe had a bit of contact from somebody coming out of Druids and was spun into the barriers coming down the hill. Lots of front-end damage to that distinctively liveried Audi, and you'll notice it's got a slightly different colour on the front of it, a black front bumper, which they've obviously hastily found somewhere, but the good news is the car is out on track, and we're going to get then all 23 cars starting this 6th race of the championship. It is the 51st TCR UK race in history. We celebrated the Big 5-0 yesterday, a championship that started back in 2018, and there were many who never thought we'd get to 5 races, let alone 50, and here we are with a really healthy grid. You know you're in a good place for the championship when you can say that 23 cars is the smallest grid we've had so far this year. We've got over 30 drivers now registered to compete in the championship, many of them full-time drivers, some doing the odd round here or there. But certainly those that we see at the pointy end of the grid are around for the full season and will be hoping to contest for the championship. So cars continuing to make their way up through clearways now and onto Clark Curve. They'll line up on that grid. Like I said, Bradley Kent on pole position with Antwort Niels alongside. 3rd on the grid is where you find the championship leader. So Max Hart he's got a decent grid position now, but he has had a troubled weekend in that number 101 Hyundai. He was a double winner at Donington last time out, won both of the races on the Donington Park Grand Prix circuit in spectacular and frankly dominant fashion. He was by far the fastest driver at Donington, but does seem to be struggling a bit for pace this weekend. Now, a big part of that is the fact that he missed the entire day of pre-event testing. On Friday, most of the teams were here pounding around the track all day long, getting literally hundreds of laps in. Max, unfortunately, ran into a clutch problem on his first lap, and that was it. He never got any more running in for the rest of the day. So Max Hart is learning on the fly, had a 15-minute practice session yesterday, a 30-minute qualifying session, and then that rain-affected and red flag-affected race, and that's all the track time that he's had so far this weekend. Jack Constable alongside him on that second row. Jack had issues at the start of yesterday's race. Actually, the car stopped on the grid at the start of the green flag lap. It looked like he'd missed the start, but because there was a red flag, he was actually able to join in the race after that. So Jack was able to get himself a top 10 finish. Then it's Alex Lee and Adam Shepherd on row 3 there. 2 Hyundais to watch out for. The 76 car of Alex Lee, the youngest driver on the grid, has actually got pole position for the third race later on today. Adam Shepherd, meanwhile, came from the back of the grid after an engine change to finish a very strong 5th place in yesterday's first race. Then it's Isaac Smith and Callum Newsham on the 4th row, and then Chris Smiley and Lewis Kent, the top 2 from yesterday's race. Lewis Kent got the lead early on once the race resumed after the red flag, and was chased hard by Chris Smiley, who came from 6th on the grid to 2nd in the first lap and a bit, including a brilliant move at the start of lap 2 up the inside of both Lewis and Alex Lee into Paddock Hill Bend. One of the best overtakes I've seen for a long time into that first corner. So keep an eye to Chris Smiley, whose Honda seems to be working well at every track we visit. He was quick at Donington, but was involved in a bit of an early skirmish with Adam Shepherd, which put him on the grass and rather affected the rest of his weekend. Seeing Jack Depper's team here, the Dirt Devil liveried Golf, with its tyres being swapped over, as I said, from front to back and left to right. Most of the other teams, I think, are pretty much ready to go. Brad Hutchinson's Audi there, the Blue Machine, he starts 15th on the grid. Brad, as he was saying to Paul earlier on, struggling a little bit yesterday, but now the conditions, I think a big part of it was the conditions. Not a lot of these drivers have driven their cars in the wet. We've got an awful lot of new drivers on the grid for 2022, and they haven't actually had that much wet running, which is a bizarre thing to say in the UK, but it seems that every time they've been on track, they've been blessed with dry conditions. It's also a new surface here at Brands Hatch. They resurfaced the track earlier on in the year, annoyingly after the championship was here for its pre-event media day, so they tested on the old surface at the start of the year, and then they've rocked up here. It's a brand new surface, and again, none of them had any track time in the wet on it, so lots of curveballs thrown at them yesterday. Now we've got a bone dry track, a nice temperature. It's warm but not too hot. I'm sure the drivers will all have a bit more confidence in their cars and in their ability to race to the front. Right then, speaking of racing, Paul O'Neill has raced his way from the paddock up into the commentary box. It's not really running weather, is it, Paul? You're showing me your back. Are you trying to suggest you've actually run up here, Paul? You didn't hitch a lift with someone?
I had, I think, probably a 50-metre sprint. Give up. Jam Sport said, do you want to jump on this? I said, yeah. So yeah, my taxi didn't arrive, mate. So yeah, I'm not too happy about that. But yeah, hey, listen, it was interesting, wasn't it? What they were all saying down on the assembly area on the grid, because there's a lot going on, isn't there? There's a lot of people who think they could be quicker. There's a lot of people out there who really need to get their season underway, actually starting at Brands Hatch here.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been an interesting first couple of rounds at Oulton Park and at Donington, especially at Donington. Some of the drivers who did really well at Oulton, people like Chris Smiley, for example, didn't have it all their own way at Donington, and that really did shift things around in the points. It's given Max Hart this good championship advantage. He's been Mr. Consistency, hasn't he? 2 second places at Oulton, 2 wins at Donington. You'd take that for the first 4 races of the season. He was almost owed a bit of bad luck in a way. I'm sure he doesn't feel that way. But even though he's had no practice, bounced back to a strong 8th place finish yesterday. What do you think he can do from 3rd on the grid today?
I think he's got a very good chance. I mean, Max is a different driver from last year, I think. You only have to watch him on board or any of the, the trackside stuff I've looked at his car. he just looks like he is now driving within himself, and that has, like you rightly said, has given him that consistency. So I'm really looking forward to this, because last time we were here, we did not have this many cars, and the crowd out there, it's unbelievable. I'm so surprised at how many people are here, and they're in for a treat, aren't they?
Absolutely, and the great thing about being on the Time Attack package is that many of them perhaps have never seen a motor race in the flesh before, because they come to Time Attack, it's a time trial format, they like their car shows and whatnot, but to actually bring this level of quality racing to them, we hope, is going to be a real treat. Right, green flag lap is underway, then cars making their way around to the start of the race, and a last chance for them to get some much needed temperature into the tyres, into the brakes. It's a hot day, but the operating temperature of these tyres is an awful lot hotter than they'll be at the moment, so it'll take them a couple of laps to really get the temps into the rear tyres especially. Also a good opportunity to see the state of the track. It is dry, but there may well be bits of rubber and debris. We've had a few sessions on the track already today, which may affect the grip level slightly. It's Bradley Kent then on the pole position. Antwort Neal's in the Subaru, who's sideways as he tries to get some heat into those tyres. Lines up second. Max Hart behind him. Interesting that Ant said he was going to work with Max. They weren't working together at Donington when Ant put Max in the gravel at Redgate Corner partway through the race. Let's see if they've managed to come up with a bit of better teamwork here today. There's the grid then. Brad Kent on the pole position for the second race in a row. He's had all of his pole positions in his career at Brands Hatch, interestingly. Walt Neal second, Max Hart third, and Jack Constable for Power Max Racing is fourth. Then it's Alex Lee, the youngster, alongside Adam Shepherd on row number 3, a pair of quick Hyundais. Then Isaac Smith and Callum Newsham, with the top two from yesterday's race, Chris Smiley and Lewis Kent, making up row 5. Bruce Winfield and Russell Joyce are together on the 6th row of the grid. Row 7, Andy Wilmot and Jack Depper ahead of Brad Hutchinson's Audi and Neil Trotter. Then it's Matthew Wilson's new shape Cupra, Scott Sumpton in another one of the Essex and Kent Motorsport Hyundais, and then towards the rear end of the grid we've got on row number 10 of the grid, Jess Hawkins, who was in the gravel yesterday, so was Darryl Wilson, Chris Wallace, Jamie Tonks and Steve Gales making up the back of a 23-car grid. Bradley Kent then lining up on pole position. Very quickly, Paul, not always the best place to be starting, is it, here at Brands? Ironically, pole position can be tricky.
Yeah, very tricky as they just come to the back of the grid now, as you rightly said. It slopes away, the camber is not for you, so when you get on the throttle hard, if you drop the clutch too quickly, loads of wheel spin, you'll have to come out the power, you don't want to touch the grass, and you can end up in the pit wall.
Let's see what happens then. Round number 6 of the 2022 TCR UK Championship about to burst into life. Bradley Kent and Antwort Neals make up row number 1. The revs start to rise, the red lights will go on. 25 minutes of racing getting underway. A good start made by the front two, but look at Jack Constable. Jack Constable from the outside of row 2 is challenging for the lead, but he's not going to have the space and has to settle in behind the top 2. Let's hope they all get cleanly through Paddock Hill Bend for the first time. 1 or 2 getting a bit sideways, but it looks like they've managed to get through there in one piece. It's Kent Jr. who leads at the top of the hill. Antwort Neal second. Oh, a couple out wide. That's Newsham and Shepherd. Adam Shepherd and Callum Newsham, 2 of the quickest drivers yesterday, have tangled as Antwort Neals goes for the lead. A brilliant move at Graham Hill Bend, and he brings Constable with him.
Wow, what's going on? Cars bouncing across the grass. Look at that. Oh, big slide from Jack Constable in his seat up there. He only just held on to that. Antwort Neals is in an absolutely golden place. If they all hold each other up, he could have a chance here. People running wide, there's cars everywhere. Jack Depper through your screen in the Dirt Devil car.
What a dramatic start that was. That was a fantastic opening lap for Antwort Neals. He will lead then at the end of lap number 1. Into Paddock Hill Bend they go. Max Hart up the inside of Bradley Kent there as they fight for position into the first corner. And it is all go here in the early stages of the race. There's Jamie Tonks battling with his teammate Jess Hawkins. They're definitely 2 drivers to watch out for. They need to work together, really, rather than fight each other. Max Hart is sideways into the side of Brad Kent. I think he was helped there by Isaac Smith. 3 wide into Graham Hill Bend will not end well, and it's Bradley Kent who gets out of that in front.
Oh, wow, he's got a real cold right rear tyre, isn't he? Look, Max Hart's back through, smoke in the background. That's probably from Paddock Hill Bend. Isaac Smith on the inside. Can he get that job done? Looks like a fast part of the circuit there as they head now into clearways, and look at them. They're really struggling with the rear tyres. I think what's happened is, with all the rain we've had, the circuit is what we call green. There's no rubber down, and they're really struggling to get temperature in those rear tyres. It's race on. Brad Kent back in the mix. Smith better watch out in the 1-2-3 Golf.
Yeah, Isaac Smith flying through nicely. He's made some good moves. There go the top 2 through Paddock Hill Bend. You can see how close Jack Constable is to the back of Antwort Neal's Subaru as they make their way up to the top of the hill. Jack Constable has had a couple of wins. Max Hart and Isaac Smith. Was that contact, Paul?
No, it looked like it was, again, a left rear tyre that was cold. And again, look at that for a move. Brad Kent down the inside. He's going to have to unwind that lock. He didn't. He was too nice. Smith still there. Smith moved out of the way because he thought he was going to get nudged. He didn't. Max Hart's on a flyer, but the rear tyres are still so cold.
Oh, Smith's had another moment there. Look, Leah's gone through, and now he's got yesterday's top 2 behind him. Now, interestingly, Lewis Kent and Chris Smiley have not made much progress, but they're going to go either side of the Gulf through Clark Curve. This is brave. Lewis Kent just about manages to clear Isaac Smith, but here comes Smiley and Jack Depper as well in the red Golf. There's no space for him. Lewis Kent moves up an extra position, then he brings Chris Smiley with him, or does he? Isaac Smith fighting back round the outside.
Oh, look at that. He's on it round the outside of the 1-2-3 Golf, but Depper now should have the inside. No, he's around the outside of Smiley in the Honda. Can he keep it there? Smith, no! And now he's going to be on the inside for Graham Hill Bend. This is absolutely stunning stuff at Brands Hatch. Gets the move done. Jack Depper's got no answer. Brilliant.
Right then, Ant Wharton-Eales leads the way. Jack Constable second. Max Hart there is third. He's got Brad Kent behind him. Kent won't be happy with how this race has started. Second race in a row that he started on pole position. He's not actually led a lap yet this weekend, I don't think. Can he do something about that? He's challenging for third as they come out of the final corner. The leaders are absolutely nose to tail as well. As always, Paul, you don't know where to look.
Absolutely not, but this is where to look, definitely. Look at that. You can see Max is really, really hanging on to this. The tyres are up to temperature. They're brave, brave boys there, aren't they? Running that curb on the inside of Paddock Hill Bend. But defending up to Druitt is only going to get you round the outside in a dangerous place, but then back everyone else up. Loads of people having a go.
And Lewis Kent is catching these two. Brad looking for the inside. He's into the back of Max Hart's Hyundai. Max isn't going to like that. Parks the car on the apex, though, and hangs on to the position. Bit of frustration maybe there for Brad Kent. I think he feels that he's quicker than Max, but he just can't find a way through. Max now, with a few years of experience in this category, knows how to defend, and he's proving that now, hanging on to third. A train of Hyundai i30Ns being caught, though, by the Veloster. Lewis Kent is catching them, definitely.
Yeah, they're definitely having a right old gaggle on this one, aren't they? I can't believe how fast and furious this is. There's cars passing left, right and centre into paddock, which, I mean, it's a difficult place to overtake this, and you usually need a braille pass on someone, but that is not the case. It's working out real good, isn't it? And there's a lot of different strategies going on out there. Cars are working well in fast stuff, bad in slow stuff, and it's just making sure that the cork in the bottle is now going to be Max Hart. Bradley Kent looks like his car is working well.
Oh, contact on the exit of Graham Hill Bend, but yes, Bradley is up the inside into Surtees. This is a tricky corner to go wheel to wheel through, and Max Hart sensibly thinking about the championship, lets Brad go. So Bradley Kent up into third position now, and crucially there did not bring either Alex Lee or Lewis Kent, his brother, with him. Out through Clark Curve they head once again, up towards the top of Paddock Hill. The top two still the same order. Jack Constable sticking with the race leader. It's then 1.7 seconds back to third place man Bradley Kent. The rest of the field filing through into Paddock Hill Bend. Now, Chris Smiley is someone who I am looking for out there. He's not in this lead group, is he? So Chris Smiley's had a bit of a disaster somewhere and is not featuring at the front of the field as I expected him to be. There are the cars at the front of the field. And now I think Constable has to get on with this, look, because Bradley Kent is catching these top two and Constable wants to try and find a way past that Subaru as soon as he can.
Yeah, definitely. I tell you what, Wharton-Eales is... He's got some big problems now because Constable knows how to drive a winning car, and Constable is in a car can win this. But I'll tell you, in third place, Bradley Kent's car for me looks so fast. Look at that, out the slipstream. If he tries this round the outside, he might try and switch back in, try and get underneath. Will he? No. Well, it's got a lot of lateral grip, that car, and it's just about trying to get right underneath. He's going to have a go. That's definitely done deal. Perfect job. That is perfect.
Fantastic stuff. He's got the inside. He's going to run Constable out wide on the exit. Careful not to make too much contact. Left him space again, didn't he, though? He's done that a few times, and it means that Constable has the inside at Graham Hill Bend and hangs on to the place. Of course, all the while they battle, Wharton-Eales gets away at the front, and they're being caught now by the Hart, Lee, and Lewis Kent trio behind. There is Max Hart sitting in that fourth position. He's loving seeing this battle up front, isn't he? Because this is soon going to become a six-way fight for the lead.
Yeah, this is proper tin top stuff, this is, and it was always going to happen if Ant Wharton-Eales got into the lead, which, looking back at the start, the second phase of his acceleration to the first corner was absolutely epic, as Brad Kent, if he wants to win this race, Brad Kent has got to get this job done in the next 2 laps, because it's only going to hold them all up, and then he'll take more time out of his tyres, but they are fully lit.
We had a similar situation to this yesterday with Callum Newsham. Callum Newsham came charging through the field. He was a second a lap quicker than the leaders, got into third, and just couldn't quite find a way past Chris Smiley, it was at the time, in second, and it cost him a chance of a win. I think we're seeing a similar thing here for Bradley Kent. He's no doubt quicker than these two, but needs to pick his moments. That's a brave place to go for it. Inside at Surtees, not a place I'd have thought of making a move. Indeed, it doesn't work. Constable stays in front, and then he's good enough on the brakes into the right-hander at Clearways that there's no gap on the inside line. This is the next trio then, with Hart, Lee, and Lewis Kent all tied together, and they're definitely getting closer to those three in front. Quick word on Chris Smiley, by the way. Smiley must have been off the road because he's in the pit lane, so that's drama for Chris Smiley, who on dropped scores, Paul, was joint championship leader with Max Hart. Not anymore.
No, and Max Hart may know that, but it is a really, really tough battle in the top 10. Yeah, that's going to hurt very much so. He needs to be in the points here. It's so tight, isn't it? The cars are still in big groups.
Yeah, they really are. No one's getting away from each other. And actually, Isaac Smith and Brad Hutchinson out of nowhere are about to join into this group. You can see the two cars at the back of the field. 7th and 8th they run. Hutchinson having a much better drive in this race than he did in the damp yesterday. And they're also with the race leaders. There's the move from Bradley Kent inside at Clearways. He muscles Jack Constable's Cupra aside. And the Hyundai, which we know is good in a straight line, should be able to complete the move. So now he's in second, Paul. That was crucial. Unless Constable comes right back at him now, I think he's going to go after Walt Neals within the next lap or so.
Well, he's defending straight away into paddock, isn't he? And a bit of left foot braking to get the car to the apex, but he should be away now. I can't see another way of Jack Constable in that 257 getting into the back and maybe down the side of him. But look, he's already straight on the back of Ant Wharton-Eales, who's been having gearbox problems, but the car looks like it's going well. Let's not get this wrong. This is an amazing achievement for Jam Sport and Ant Wharton-Eales to be leading this race. This is proper stuff.
The Subaru TCR car had never led a lap in a race anywhere in the world until Donington Park a few weeks ago in the hands of Ant Wharton-Eales, and now here it is doing the same thing again. Yes, it's a reverse grid race, but he's doing it on merit in a way. He's under real pressure now, though, from Bradley Kent, who looks to the outside through Clark Curve. Of course, that little bit of defensive driving, though, has backed Kent into Constable. He leaves the door wide open. I'm amazed he did that. Constable's back up the inside for second place. He'll be late on the brakes at Paddock Hill Bend, and Max Hart will try and follow him through as well. This is important for Max Hart. It's a chance to get onto the podium. It doesn't quite work, but Constable, he's back into second, Paul.
He's done it again. Look, Brad has now got down his inside. He needs to make sure that door is shut. But what the problem is Ant Wharton-Eales, look at the drive that Subaru has out of Druids Bend. It's unbelievable. As they go past our comms box, it's nose to tail all the way to 8th. It's unbelievable stuff. There's something's got to give.
Yeah, it's a pressure cooker race, this, isn't it? It's building and building the pressure. Eventually, the lid's going to blow off it, and all hell could break loose. They've got Steve Gales in the Audi to put a lap down momentarily, and they're going to catch him as the leaders are almost side by side. Wharton-Eales was not going to leave any space there for Brad Kent, and Brad knew it. He got his nose out of that door before he found himself in the gravel trap. So through we go then. We've got 15 minutes still to go in what has been a brilliant 6th round of the championship. Wharton-Eales leads the way. Bradley Kent is second, Constable third, Hart in 4th place. And is this where the attack comes into Druids? No, Wharton-Eales saw it coming, and Brad has to go to the outside.
Oh, but Wharton-Eales has got good traction up here. He tries to use the back marker as a blocking tactic, but look at that. He knows he cannot do anything but back him into the back marker. Gales tries to stay out of the way, but Bradley Kent, he's got one chance at this. If he doesn't do it, I'm telling you what, look at this, 3 and 4 abreast. There's damage on the front of one of the cars there.
Yeah, that was, Hart is sideways, and that's around goes Max Hart, the championship leader. Can he save it? Surely not. What a bit of car control from Max Hart. It was contact with Alex Lee, and that was the last thing that he needed. It drops him right to the back of that lead group, and the championship leader in trouble just as he was starting to make a bit of a presence felt at the front of the pack. There is damage to the front of Brad Kent's car. That was from contact at Graham Hill Bend with Ant Wharton-Eales, and here he comes again. No, the traction of that Subaru is so good.
Yeah, and that will be because of the boxer engine in that particular car. It's good weight transfer. Now Constable's down the inside. Constable fancies a bit of this. Where's he coming from? This is none of your business, mate. But he's got one chance. Brad, if he doesn't get this done, as this could be it, it's opening up. He gives him a bit of a bump draft from behind. Wharton-Eales comes across. Wharton-Eales will defend for his life. But look down the inside there of, I think it was Jack Constable. We had another car, so now this is for the lead. Good work.
Yeah, there's contact, inevitably. Brad Kent muscles his way through on the inside of the Subaru, leaves him no space, but here comes Constable as well. Bradley Kent gets the lead, but Constable is going to try and can come through into second position, and I think he's probably going to get there. Is there damage to the Subaru? No, he's coming back at him, actually. They've sorted the top end of that Subaru out really well. Constable, though, late on the brakes of Paddock goes second. Lewis Kent with him, and Isaac Smith slowly but surely working his way through as well.
Yeah, but the problem for Bradley Kent, who's in the lead now, is that he hit, in my opinion, Antwater Neals, a lot of people running wide. Antwater Neals needed to be in second place, and that's a big spin off our camera. But we won't worry about that for now. We're just having a look through the comms box, but that is proper stuff for the lead, because we needed Antwater Neals to be second for Brad Kent to try and get away with this win, but and there you go, that's what we've seen. It's Alex Lay, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a shame. There was contact. I didn't see who with out of the window. Right, Isaac Smith goes past the Subaru, and here comes Hutchinson. Brad Hutchinson on for surely his best result of the season so far. He was in the mix in the top 5 at Donington last time out as well, and he moves into 5th position. The leading 3 are still together. Brad's not getting away here, is he? This is surprising me.
Very surprising, but what is a bit worrying for me is Lewis Kent in 3rd place, flapping bonnet. If anybody sees that, the race directors will not think that is a good thing. If that starts moving around too much, that 3rd place car, the new Veloster, that is going to be a problem.
Yeah, the Veloster claimed its first ever win in the UK yesterday in TCR UK's 50th ever race, and Lewis Kent looking to try and get another race victory, not just for the stats, but for his championship hopes as well. Into clearways we go then. We have got still over 11.5 minutes of this race to go. We're about to complete lap number 16, and Bradley Kent leads the way from Jack Constable in second, Lewis Kent third, Alex Lee is in the pit lane. Bad news, good news, really. That bad news, he's in the pit lane. Good news, he's off the track, so no need for yellow flags at the part of the circuit at which he spun. 4th place then the Golf of Isaac Smith, 5th the Audi of Brad Hutchinson, and 6th the Subaru of Antwater Neals. I know we've got 2 Hyundais in the top 3, but the variety of car at the front of the field, we've got Hyundai, Cupra, Golf, Audi, Subaru, all in the top 6. Drivers like to moan about balance of performance, but this is why we have it. It's clearly working.
Yeah, it definitely is. From what I've seen so far in TCR UK, they've definitely got it nailed. No one is running away, and I don't think there's many drivers that are actually complaining about how the series is playing out. So it's good to see, isn't it? And what else is good to see is the rest of the field still battling, even though it's not for first position.
Yeah, we haven't had a chance to tell you about this, but I've been keeping an eye on this battle out of the window. This is Andy Wilmot in 12th position, followed by Jamie Tonks, who's just got himself ahead of Matthew Wilson. So Tonks is into 12th. Then it is the new Cupra behind of Wilson, and Jess Hawkins on the tail of this group as well. Now, Jamie was telling me yesterday he's really confident in the race pace of that Fast-Star Cupra. It's not that good on a single lap, but at the end of the race, it's really looking after its tyres well, and I think we're seeing that now. He's moving to the front, and if he can clear Wilmot, there's a bit of clear air ahead of him. Wilmot, another driver, Paul, who I think has really, really improved this year. As I say that, he locks up and runs wide at Druids. Of course he does.
Easy thing to do. That's left a lot of people to pass him. Matt Wilson, the last of them. I think Jess Hawkins was trying to get round the outside. She's given up in the 21 Fast-Star car. So, yeah, Wilmot just locking it. It's an easy thing to do that as the race goes on. That front right tyre just gives up as you keep brake pressure on and turn the steering wheel and give it no option but to snatch underneath you.
Hawkins having another look at the inside there at clearways, but not quite close enough to the Hyundai of Andy Wilmot, so that's all shuffled the order a little bit further back. There's Max Hart, by the way, heading into Paddock Hill Bend, just ahead of Callum Newsham. Newsham in 8th, Hart in 7th, so I don't know if there's now a bit of damage to the 101 Hyundai, because he's not as quick now as he was earlier on in the race compared to those around him, so I suspect maybe one of the bits of contact he was involved in has potentially caused a bit of damage. There's definitely superficial damage to the race leading car, but it's not slowing Bradley Kent down particularly. We now, though, Paul, get into the part of the race where tyre management becomes key. They're long races, it's a high track temperature, and that left front tyre takes a real pounding round here, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really does. And one of the ways to get rid of that front degradation on your tyres on these front-wheel drive cars is to make the rear as loose as you can. And I must say, Bradley Kent's car, how loose it was the first 3 or 4 laps we've seen it, I would think that he's going to have a better degradation across the front axle.
Which is interesting, because the exact opposite was true yesterday, but that was on the wet tyres on a drying track. He really chewed up the tyres in the early stages. I think he's managed it a little bit better in this one. Certainly not comfortable here, though. Jack Constable remaining just 4 tenths behind him as they battle for the race lead. There's then a small gap, another second back to this man, Lewis Kent, in 3rd position. Late race pace has been the Veloster's Achilles heel this year, and I think we're again seeing that now start to play out. He's falling back from the leaders, and Isaac Smith is sensing an opportunity to get onto the podium.
Yeah, he really is, isn't he? And Isaac will want to get fully involved in this, and that will definitely that will definitely catch Kent's attention, because he's getting the undercut now. He's definitely got that job done. That's going to be a place for him as they go up to Paddock Hill Bend.
Isaac Smith then on the inside line going for third. That bonnet is definitely getting looser, isn't it, on the front of the Veloster, and it loses a position. Can Lewis fight back on the exit? He's certainly going to try it, but doesn't have that traction off the corner, and so Isaac Smith is able to come across and defend and hold on to third position. So Isaac Smith, who has been twice on the podium so far this year, he's had 2 third-place finishes, and he's on course for another one here, it seems. Let's see, though, whether he's got the pace to go after the race leaders. Walt Neals hasn't disappeared either, has he, Paul? He's staying on the back of this group and actually had a bit of a go at Hutchinson there for 5th as they went into Graham Hill Bend.
Yeah, there was definitely a podium in that car of Walt Neals, is that green and white Subaru, but for some reason, I think he's been, once somebody bashed their way past, it kind of opens a door and you start locking fronts and trying to keep up, but he's doing okay, and this is getting closer now. This is getting so much closer. Bradley Kent, he's going to have to watch out, because it looks like Constable went for the lead into Paddock Hill Bend. What are we going to see? Are we going to see a change for the lead? I think we have, yes. And he's definitely... What's going on? That's the problem.
I don't believe it. Bradley Kent's car is slowing. How much bad luck can this young man have this season? The number 5 Hyundai is off the pace when he was leading the race. Bradley Kent, it looks like it's going to be another non-finish. That would be his 4th of the year in 6 races. That's such a shame. And Brad Kent slowing, limping back to the pit lane. Jack Constable then moves into the race lead with Isaac Smith second and Lewis Kent back on the podium. But I really, really feel for Brad Kent. The young man just cannot catch a break.
No, that is desperate stuff, isn't it? Brad Hutchison now is trying to defend from Ant Water-Neals, a resurgent Ant Water-Neals. Good on the brakes, that car, and it looks like he's just trying to open it up. Are we going to see 2 cars sliding? I'm not sure there was contact there, but it was close. That right rear locking up on that Subaru, the green and white Subaru, so good on the brakes. And out of here, great on traction. Look how tight it is. That car really can just gain ground on people with traction out of slow speed corners.
Fastest man on the track now is Isaac Smith in second position. He's already on course for his best result in the championship, but he wants his first race victory, and he is catching Jack Constable reasonably quickly, actually. Constable was a full 3/10 slower than him on the previous lap. Max Hart, meanwhile, with the demise of Brad Kent, moves into 6th position, still battling away there with Callum Newsham, who was on the podium yesterday, and just struggling to find a way past the Hyundai, which understeers wide at clearways, and that almost gives Newsham an opportunity to have a go heading across the start-finish line. The number 101 car, though, will stay ahead as we go through onto another lap. 5 3/4 minutes still to go. We're on the 23rd lap of the race. The lead gap stands at just under half a second, and the battling behind as intense as ever, with Lewis Kent 3rd, Brad Hutchinson 4th, and Ant Water-Neals, as you said, Paul, really coming back at him now. So the Subaru in the second half of the race, weirdly, looks to be getting back on form again.
Yeah, and I think that says a lot for the platform of that car. It might not be the most powerful thing in the world, but the Subaru's definitely looking like a car that can get through tight corners and use its tyres well. And Ant Water-Neals being very experienced, as are Jam Sport with front-wheel drive tin tops. But looking back, Russell Joyce there having a great day out. He loved it, doesn't he, Russell?
He does. He was the Goodyear Diamond Trophy winner yesterday as well, which is for drivers over the age of 40. There's a trophy given out to the winning driver in that class every race. I think he's probably leading the class in this race. Yes, he is. They're all teenagers ahead of him, basically. So Russell Joyce, who's been getting further and further up the top 10 overall as the races are going on, continues to lead in that category for the time being. Just ahead of him, by the way, we haven't mentioned him yet, is Darrell Wilson. Darrell Wilson in the Astra inside the top 10 as well. I haven't seen him really all weekend long, but one of 2 drivers who have entered into every season of TCR UK so far, is having another strong race here, all on his own really, but he'll be quite happy with that in 8th.
I'd say so, but yeah, it's really close. I must admit, I'm surprised. Russell Joyce there up in 10th, and that's he's within 10 seconds, so the top 10 within 10 seconds, so proper stuff there. And Darrell Wilson in the green Opel Astra TCR is definitely going well. He's had a couple of wins. He's no slouch.
No, absolutely. He is a race winner formerly in TCR UK, and this has been his best showing of the season so far. Really nice to see. Now, Bradley Kent is back on the track. which is good because it means he's going to be classified as a finisher. It also suggests to me, Paul, that it wasn't mechanical. It was maybe something that had broken on the car. He's going slowly now to let the leaders through as they come past to lap him. They put some tank tape on the front. Maybe there was a bit of a knock as they were battling for the lead, and it's done some damage to the car.
There was something, yeah, what's happened with that, where he's had contact, that wasn't flapping that bonnet, but something has obviously been hit and caused an alarm on the dash, and it can retard the ignition, so the engine power drops, and that's what it looked like. It went into limp home mode, didn't it? So something's gone on there. We'll get a bit of that later on. Brad Hutchison having a decently strong run here. He's going to be wanting to get a bit further up. This is the highest I've seen him run, except for maybe Donington. He had a bit of a problem, didn't he? He was 5th at Donington, so Hutchison in the Bondit car is looking very, very strong. Yeah, he was. That was a 5th place that could easily have been a podium, actually, had it not been for some contact with Alex Lee and Antwort Niels down at the Melbourne Hairpin, which I know Brad wasn't particularly pleased with, but he's had a clean race up to this point and running strongly in 4th position. You can tell it's been a touring car race, this car. Lots of cars with bits of bodywork flapping loose, but Jack Constable, probably with one of the cleanest cars on the grid, is now starting to get back away from Isaac Smith. The fight here, Paul, is for 3rd place. Lewis Kent, Brad Hutchinson, Antwort Niels. A podium result would mean an awful lot to all 3 of these drivers. For Lewis, it would help him in the championship. For Hutchinson and Wart Niels, it would be their first ever podium in the championship, and Wart Niels in particular has not given up yet. No, and he did have a look, didn't he, going into paddock. But that Subaru so strong into the corners and on the way out. It's just difficult to actually get close enough to have an attack. But his exhaust's wobbling a bit there as well on that green and white Subaru. But he's always showing his nose. And Bradley will be not liking that in the 17. No, and as it distracts Hutchinson slightly, so Lewis Kent is getting away from them a little bit more in front. There's also a nice scrap developing in the next group of cars behind them. Max Hart, Callum Newsham being caught by Daryl Wilson and Jamie Tonks. Tonks making good on his promise to me yesterday that he'd be good at the end of the races. So that's another fight at the back end of the top 10 worth keeping an eye on. That's dropping away, isn't it now? Antwort Niels has dropped away from the back of Hutchison. So I don't know what's happened there. There's bits of the car falling off. But yeah, that's weird, yeah, because Brad is now flying. Brad Hutchison in the Audi is really flying now. He's got his headlights on. The Bondit car looks rapid. Yeah, and of course now he's not under any threat from the Subaru. For reasons I can't quite put my finger on, the Subaru is slowing down, and that releases the pressure from Hutchinson. He's free to just attack Lewis Kent ahead of him. Wart Niels, I can see out of the window, is definitely managing a problem here. He just wants to get to the end of the race, which is only 2 minutes away, without losing too many more places. But there you can see this horde of cars behind him are getting closer. Hart, Newsham, Wilson and Tonks are going to catch the Subaru, I think, before the end of the race, and that could be the trigger for this battle really igniting, because we've seen Newsham and Hart circulating together for most of the race. The same is true of Wilson and Tonks, and now they're all together just as they catch the ailing Subaru. And mechanical problem or not, Wart Niels isn't going to just move out of their way, is he? Well... Except he did. As I said that, yes, he's pulled off, actually. Wart Niels has pulled off at the end of the pit lane. That was twice I've said something really genius at a bad time. So Wart Niels, that's a shame, isn't it, Paul? After a really strong showing, another DNF. It is a shame. So something going awry there. But to be fair, he's done a great thing there. I don't know what the race director will make of it, but he's reversed down the pit lane out of the way. I would say that is a very clever move, in my opinion. Yeah, gets him out of the way. No need for yellow flags, therefore. No need for marshals to have to get themselves into a precarious position. Right, through Surtees we go. We're about to start the final lap of the race then. It's going to be a 27-lapper, this one. Jack Constable has just gone through onto... Well, actually, no, I think they'll squeeze 2 more out of it, you know. Oh, no, we won't. The checkered flag is out. The checkered flag has been thrown early, perhaps as a result of the... Wart Niels car then, that's the only thing I can think of. We still had 40-odd seconds on the clock. It's caught a few of them out as well, look, as Lewis Kent almost got into the back of Brad Hutchinson there, but it means that Jack Constable gets the race win, and Jack Constable claims his 3rd ever win in TCR UK. Isaac Smith gets his best result in the championship, and Lewis Kent in 3rd position gets another really strong finishing place for him, and that's more good points in the championship. Brad Hutchinson comes home, again a career best 4th, and Antwort Niels is registered as 5th because well, that can't be right though, because he wasn't running at the flag. It wasn't like it was a red flag situation, it was simply a early checkered flag, so I suspect maybe that he is going to be dropping
out of that 5th position once the official results come out, but we'll get to the bottom of that as and when we can. So, just to confuse us all then, a slightly early finish to the race, but a brilliant race it was, and a really, really good win that for Jack Constable. Jack is going to be absolutely ecstatic with that one. As I said, twice a race winner already is Jack. He got a win at Oulton Park last year and a win at Donington Park. Brands Hatch was a bit of a mixed bag for Jack last season. Had a podium in race 1, but they didn't finish race 2 and didn't start race 3. So Jack Constable having a much better time of it here at Brands in 2022. And Constable pulls up into the winning position underneath the Brands Hatch podium. And he is going to be very, very pleased with his race win. Second place for Isaac Smith. That's a good haul of points for him as well. Isaac is right up there in the championship battle. Let's not forget about him. Easy to get distracted with some of the more established names in the championship. But Isaac, who's moved through from mini challenge racing last year, is 3rd in the points coming into that race. And with Chris Smiley not finishing, actually, I think Isaac's probably going to move into 2nd in the championship. That non-finish for Chris Smiley is a big dint in his championship hopes. I never did get the chance to say during that race, but I actually spotted out of the window that Smiley had pulled off at Graham Hill Bend. It doesn't look like it's damage related. I think he's had a mechanical issue, and Chris Smiley, the former British touring car race winner, is unfortunately a non-finisher due to a mechanical issue. Isaac Smith gets out of the car then after his career best finish in the championship, and he will go and shake hands with the team. Jack Constable absolutely worn out. It is a very, very warm day here at Brands Hatch. Good news for the enormous crowd that we've got on hand, but not such good news for the poor drivers who have just spent 25 hard minutes sat inside their cars. There's Isaac Smith. He's going to take his helmet off and relax and enjoy the moment with the team. And 3rd position, of course, goes to Lewis Kent, and that's another really, really important result for Lewis as far as the championship is concerned. The Goodyear Diamond Trophy, by the way, goes once again to Russell Joyce. That's the 2nd time this weekend that he's taken the prize for the highest placed driver over the age of 40. But as we've seen, when he finished 9th place overall, he was in the top 10 yesterday as well. He's no slouch. He may be one of the older drivers on the grid, but that doesn't mean that they're slow by any stretch of the imagination. The other award that we have over the course of a weekend, and indeed in each race, is the Tom Walker Memorial Trophy, which goes to the highest place finisher in each race who did not have a podium finish coming into the season. That will go to Isaac Smith, because Isaac, of course, as a new driver to the championship, didn't have a podium before the start of the year, and he is therefore eligible for the Tom Walker Trophy for the duration of the season. So I can see Paul O'Neill down there. We're hopefully going to be able to have a chat with our podium finishers in a moment or two, and some very, very happy drivers they will be. Jack Constable, I think, still catching his breath after that race. Don't forget that that is not it for TCR UK action. It's a triple header weekend. So as well as the race yesterday, we have 2 today. That was the first one. The other one is due to start at just after 2:30 later on this afternoon. So that is another 25-minute race, and will be another absolutely brilliant bit of entertainment on track. Out of the window, I can see Chris Smiley's car being towed back to the paddock. Yeah, I see no damage on the Honda, so I think it is a mechanical issue, a rare mechanical issue actually. The Honda usually pretty bulletproof, and Bert Taylor's Restart Racing team do a good job of preparing the car, which they've got from the Yas team, who are kind of the official team of the manufacturer-backed Honda team internationally. So it's a car with good pedigree. It's raced in the World TCR Championship, that car, and it unfortunately has encountered pretty much its first mechanical issue of the season in that race, and that will be a big hit for Chris's championship score. So chats in the pit lane among the podium finishing drivers then, and Jack Constable is there, Isaac Smith is there, and Lewis Kent as well for the 2nd time on the podium. So whilst we're waiting to hopefully hear from those top 3, let's very quickly see what this means for the championship standings. There are 40 points available for a race win, plus a bonus point for the fastest lap. The fastest lap of the race went to Bradley Kent, albeit a lap down, but he'll still get that bonus point for fastest lap, which means 40 go to Lewis Kent. No, 40 go to Jack Constable, I beg your pardon. With 35 points then going to Isaac Smith for his 2nd place, and 30 points will find their way to Lewis Kent. So Lewis is definitely going to benefit championship-wise. The other championship frontrunner, of course, is Max Hart, and he struggled along there, but still managed to actually bag a top 5 finish. He'll be pretty happy with that. 16 points. 24 points will go to the Irishman who led the championship coming into that race, all of which means he still has the championship advantage. He's on 198 points now, compared to 174 for Isaac Smith, so 24 points is the lead. Ironically, even though Max finished behind Isaac in that race, the gap actually goes up because, of course, it wasn't Isaac Smith originally who was second place in the championship behind him. On drop scores, though, things will change even further, of course. So, TCR UK racing done here for the time being at Brands Hatch, and we will be back to bring you race number 2 a bit later on in the day.